Hello and welcome to Confused Reviews, where a cartoon drawing reviews movies, and it's time once again for the Christmas special. I've talked about my favorite Christmas action movie, a pretty good Christmas family flick, and it's now time to discuss a classic comedy of the genre, National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. The Vacation saga has stapled itself as one of the funniest series ever made. The original Vacation is a perfect synopsis of a family trip going horribly wrong, and European Vacation also works, showing the troubles anyone can have traveling to a foreign land. For the third entry, they decided to not take a trip anywhere, ironic judging by the title, but show the wonders of having your family over for the holidays. It tells the story of...
What happened in here?
I redid my room. You like it?
Yeah, but it's, kind of, bare? And where are the rest of your DVDs?
I sold them.
What?
Nah, I'm kidding. They're in the basement.
So you're doing the Christmas special?
Yeah, I was right now.
In January?
I've been busy.
With this?
More or less.
So, how about you review...
No. This one is for me. I'll get with you in 10 or so minutes. Happy holidays. This movie has been crowned as one of the best Christmas movies of all time, and does it hold up to such high praise? Let's just dive into this flick and see if Chevy Chase's hilarious antics are worth a watch. This is National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. So the film begins with an animated opening title sequence that not only rivals a Charlie Brown Christmas, but also serves as a prelude to the mayhem about to ensue. We flash to the opening of The Evil Dead to see the Griswolds driving on the open road, more specifically Clark and Ellen, played by the legendary Chevy Chase and Beverly D'Angelo, who are singing Christmas carols and getting infinite eye rolls from Rusty and Audrey, played by Johnny Galecki and Juliette Lewis. They're heading out to get a tree and show how often and how wide Clark can open his eyes. Two rednecks in a truck start riding their tails, so he retaliates by speeding up while they try to pass, as well as giving them a little message.
Hey kids, look, a deer!
Now that's how you do road rage. Short, sweet, and to the fucking point. Fun fact, this blue pickup truck is the exact one used in Overboard with Kurt Russell, which is neat, I suppose. Seabass and homeless Bee Rabbit here then brake check the car, and after fighting for the lead a few more times, Clark accidentally drives underneath a semi like he's trying to recreate a scene from The Fast and the Furious, which, in case you didn't know, is extremely dangerous and should never be attempted. I feel like this scene needs a jackass warning before it.
Warning. The stunts in this movie were performed by professionals, so for your safety and the protection of those around you, do not attempt any of the stunts you're about to see.
He gets out of there and continues his track record of crashing a station wagon and decides to instead act like the Dukes of Hazzard. They venture out into the snow like the opening to The Hateful Eight and find the perfect tree. Pretty shocking they didn't see the light from a mile away.
It's meant to symbolize how great he thinks the tree is.
I was being sarcastic, prick. They say the tree is massive, but Clark shuts them down with the Eric Cartman mindset.
It's not big, it's just full.
I'm not fat. I'm big boned.
And while we see Audrey is cosplaying as Jack Torrance, Clark is getting into his role as Mike Tyson.
This tree is a symbol of the spirit of the Griswold family Christmas.
But unfortunately, Clark forgot an axe or a chainsaw or anything to chop down the tree, so they just haul the whole thing, roots and all, back home. Did they dig it out with their bare hands? Their fingers are probably popsicles by now. Back at home, Clark walks out dressed as Trevor Morehouse and tosses some subtle jabs at his asshole neighbors, Margot and Todd, played by Julia Louis-Dreyfus and Nicholas Guest.
Where do you think you're gonna put a tree that big? Bend over and I'll show you.
Chevy Chase is a comedic genius. After a while of trimming, Clark unveils the finished tree to mostly negative results.
Nice.
We bounce over to Clark at work, sipping coffee out of a Taz mug that would look great next to Stanley Ipkiss's pillows. Just make sure you keep it away from Steve Carell.
That is off limits because I've had that a long time. That's very precious to me.
If I were to actually break this, though,
You can't break that. You can't break that.
Oh,
no.
can I?
He didn't choose the mug life. It chose him. Frank Shirley, played by Brian Doyle-Murray, and the Agent Smith Patrol make their way to Clark and not only call him two different names that are in completely different universes than his real one.
Mark, don't forget that report, Bill.
Yes, sir.
But Clark says some great stuff to his boss's brown-nosers.
Merry Christmas. Kiss my ass. Kiss his ass. Kiss your ass. Happy Hanukkah.
Not only is that hilarious, it's the perfect smoothie of emotions everyone feels during the holiday season. Or at work. Or at anywhere, really.
Kiss my ass.
Eat my shorts.
Kiss his ass.
No.
Kiss your ass. Happy Hanukkah.
You really think I give a shit?
We cut to a montage of Christmas consumerism to rival the opening of Krampus, and back at home, the most horrific, terrifying, absolutely spine-chilling thing happens. The in-laws arrive, which includes, but certainly isn't limited to, Clark Sr., Nora, Art, and Francis, played by John Rudolph, Diane Lane, E.G. Marshall, and Doris Roberts, respectively. They barge in, and the chaos immediately starts, so Clark and Rusty hop outside to start decorating the house.
Russ, when was the last time I overdid anything?
Well, when you took the fam to Europe, but before that you tried getting to Wally World too, and that ended badly. Plus you'll do it again and try your luck in Vegas, and Rusty will one day do the same mistakes in a remake nobody asked for. So, I'd say 2 so far, but 5 total. He climbs the ladder and begins stapling himself onto the house better than the lights. What is with Christmas movies and staple guns? Weird. It turns to night and he continues the Homer Simpson method of roof renovation, and eventually falls, only to grab onto the gutter. But instead of safely shimmying over to the ladder, it breaks and shoots an icicle at the neighbor's window, breaking their Sega CD, and he then collapses into a bush. What a roller coaster of emotions that scene was. Said douchey neighbors inspect the damage, and watching this makes me want Elaine to smack some sense into her.
You stupid hipster doofus!
Anywho, they all gather outside for the Big Light Unveiling, and as you'd expect, it doesn't turn out all that spectacular.
This is such a crock of shit!
Well, shit. To make matters worse, the next morning he gets a good old-fashioned concussion for breakfast. And worser still, there's probably a bunch of birds awaiting him up there. Okay, not really, but him having a collection of attic birds isn't all that far-fetched, now is it? Frances shuts the attic door like she's Andy's mom or something, which leads to Clark doing some slapstick that would make the Three Stooges proud. The family leaves, meaning he's stuck up there, and he gets layered up, as well as finding the home movies from Sinister, and enjoys the sentimental moment all by himself. Well, for a little while.
Bombs away!
I mean, he did set up camp on the one spot that could open. Oh well. Back with Clark's light shenanigans, we find out that there's not only a huge safety hazard in his garage, but the reason the lights don't work was because the switch wasn't flipped. Only at the Griswold house. Nora unknowingly turns it on, leading to the house getting so bright it could melt faces like the Ark got opened, and Ellen is the only one to see the shiny spectacle. But it's then obviously turned off before Clark can see his masterpiece, and Ellen just kinda says, whatever, and heads inside. And they say kids have short attention spans. Clark heads back, only for his amazing wife to pop the lights on for him, and he looks dumbfounded at his handiwork like Vincent looking in the briefcase, and the blinding light also makes the neighbors destroy their house. Good. They're dickheads. His magnum opus is short-lived, as for the second time in 3 minutes, the neighborhood goes dark, and Clark's devastation is a tad violent. Another fun fact, Chevy Chase actually broke his pinky while punching the Santa decoration. Instead of yelling cut right there, Chase kept kicking and clubbing the decorations until he walked out of frame. Everyone's always talking about how Tom Cruise is so committed to getting the shot, but I think Chevy deserves some goddamn respect in that arena. Oh, and Ellen realizes the problem and gives Clark a victory, leading to the whole family embracing in the beauty. How sweet. The special moment is then sideswiped by Cousin Eddie, played by Randy Quaid, stopping by without warning, wearing a hat 2 sizes too small. The rest of his dog pack is introduced, and Clark again perfectly expresses how shocking it is when that weird family member just barges into family gatherings uninvited.
Yeah, you surprised?
Surprised, Eddie? If I woke up tomorrow with my head sewn to the carpet, I wouldn't be more surprised than I am right now.
I couldn't have said it better myself if my head was sewn to the carpet. They have a little chit-chat in front of the tree, and not only do we see some Wally World mugs as a subtle callback to the first movie, but we see Eddie's dog drinking the tree water, which I assume tastes like pure leaf tea, but whatever. Clark asks about his RV, and Eddie must have had the same thought process as Lloyd Christmas.
He took my house, I took the RV. It's a good-looking vehicle, ain't it?
Traded the van for it, straight up. I can get 70 miles to the gallon on this hog.
Yep, totally equal trade. The fam eventually goes sledding, and Clark lubes up his sled with more grease and oil than a semi filled with premium, and he flies down the hill like a rocket ship on cocaine, smashing into snowbanks and other shit until he decides to become a real flying saucer and ending up at a Walmart. That was intense. No, not the sledding part, ending up at a Walmart. That's just terrifying. Later on, we get a montage of Clark moping about not getting his bonus check and subsequently not getting a pool, which is annoying, especially considering his boss has been a jack-off to him the whole movie, and it's then interrupted by Ruby Sue, played by Ellen Latzen, who tells Clark she's nervous that she won't get anything for Christmas, just like last year, even though she's been good. He has a heart-to-heart with her and says it'll be okay. For how much of a buffoon Clark is, he still has a heart of gold. Anywho, seconds later, he wakes up to see Eddie dumping shit into the sewer. Well, that took a 180, and I hope to God Pennywise wasn't in there.
Hiya, Georgie.
Shitter was full!
Ew. Ellen and Clark decide to help Eddie give the kids a good Christmas and takes Ederino shopping, who not only crushes everything they put into the cart by piling on a mountain of dog food, but after a moment of convincing and bear hugging, he whips out a pre-made list of all the shit his family wants. This scene is so jam-packed with subtle moments of comedy, and then the cherry on top is Ed saying he wants to get something for Clark with Clark's money. Eddie.
Your entire life is garbage.
Back at home, a couple more family members stroll in, more specifically Aunt Bethany and Uncle Lewis, played by Mae Questel and William Hickey. Aunt Beth is asking some very pressing questions.
Is your house on fire, Clark?
No, not yet, but it probably will be later. Anywho, we see Bethany is
I love riding in cars.
getting up there in age and can't really remember stuff too good, and we hop into dinner and Clark makes a toast, because making toasts is a lot of fun.
Toasts are great. I mean, you toast somebody, they toast you back. It just goes round and round. That's my favorite part about toasts. The reciprocity.
They decide to have their dear old Aunt Bethany lead the feast by saying grace, but again,
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America.
Just isn't grasping the concept. At least Eddie's supportive. And to make matters worse, the turkey explodes like a frag grenade, almost like that time Reese tried making a fancy meal. Well, shit. Maybe they should all pack it up and go get Chinese food instead. But just in case you thought Beth and Lewis couldn't cause any more comedic moments, their cat they brought along unknowingly gets electrocuted when Clark plugs in the tree and now looks like a chalk outline.
That thing had 9 lives. She just spent them all. Woo!
First time in this movie, I agree with Eddie. Plus, once they toss out the burnt chair, we see that the sewer looks like the Ninja Turtles are having a rave. Interesting. Oh, and don't get too attached to the Griswold family Christmas tree, because Lewis sparks up a Winston Churchill-sized cigar, and due to the dog drying it out, turns his Don Diego into a flamethrower. But this bad news is followed up by some good when the mailman drops off Clark's bonus check at night for some reason, and he spills the beans on his swimming pool plans. Too bad instead of it being a badass gift, it's the equivalent of getting a gift card with $3 on it, and it's instead a membership to the Jelly of the Month Club. He then, justifiably, loses his shit, slurring insults faster than that scene in Liar Liar, and storms off. I mean, he's not in the wrong, that's messed up. Clark takes his rage straight to the chainsaw, which is something I don't condone, unless you want to film it, and he chops down the neighbor's tree until it smashes into their window like the tree in Poltergeist. He throws up the new shrub, and all our attention is thrust to a certain critter that was hiding inside.
Hey, squirrel!
They hatch a plan to catch the little bastard and then give it to Veruca Salt, but he latches onto Clark like he's glued to him, but Hooch here goes after it instead. The scene concludes when Margot is attacked by the animals.
Gone.
Whoops. The family tries getting out of there, but Clark ain't having none of that shit and says one of the greatest lines ever said in a motion picture.
We're gonna press on, and we're gonna have the happiest Christmas since Bing Crosby tap danced with Danny fucking Kaye.
That should be put on a t-shirt or engraved in a piece of wood. Either way, it was fantastic. The freakout is then followed up by a real touching moment of Henry Jones Sr. here talking some sense into his son, and it's wholesome as hell. Just when the movie seems to be wrapping up real nicely, Eddie returns with Frank Shirley taken hostage. Uh-oh.
I have never been treated like this in my life.
I'm sorry, this is our family's first kidnapping.
No the fuck it isn't. Remember when Clark held John Candy at gunpoint to ride a roller coaster? I can't believe that's a real sentence. He explains how Shirley screwed him and the whole company out of a bonus, and after getting the death stare from the whole family, he begrudgingly decides to help out the little guy for once. Now if this isn't a Christmas miracle, so much so it causes Clark to pass out. And thankfully the cops didn't have too hard of a time finding the Griswold house. Plus, because one rich guy got taken for 5 minutes, the whole SWAT team shows up to assess the situation. Also, this little thing here is fantastic, and I want everyone to appreciate it. Al Powell here also calls Frank out on his no bonus bullshit, and the family embraces to look up at the beautifully polluted sky. Clark realizes that dropping a match will cause a minor explosion, and Lewis goes full last action hero.
Don't drop that!
For real this time, the whole cast follows Bethany's lead and sings the national anthem one last time. Plus, we see that Santa's in the sky. And after one last kiss between Clark and Ellen, the sappy music flares up and we come to a cute conclusion. Because that's just how Christmas movies work. And that was National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, and I don't know if I made it apparent or not, but I love this movie. It's the perfect example of expertly blending dry, sarcastic humor with hilarious slapstick that makes every scene worth watching 100 times. The whole cast is phenomenal, especially Chevy Chase with his endless eye acting, Beverly D'Angelo keeping everyone sane, and Randy Quaid playing the perfect idiot. It's ironic that arguably my favorite vacation movie doesn't even have the Griswolds travel anywhere, but the close-to-home story makes it relatable to just about anyone, and that's why I believe it's so timeless. Everybody has crazy neighbors, family members you could go without seeing, and the one guy keeping everything held together. It's great to me, and just like how Die Hard is the perfect Christmas action movie, Home Alone, Elf, or A Christmas Story can be the perfect family Christmas movie, this one is the best Christmas comedy. With every scene packed to the brim with all kinds of comedic genius that I have yet to get bored with, and love even to this day. It's one of those movies that I have a hard time reviewing in my normal style because it's so great and I can't show every joke, and all I can say is to just go watch it. It's practically a perfect movie for me, and I can't think of anything inherently wrong with it. Excellent cast, some of the best jokes ever put to film, and one wacky family you can't take your eyes off of create a badass flick, and one I can't recommend enough. I'm going to give National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation an A+, because I could watch it every day and still find little things new to love about it. Now, if you'll excuse me.
What are you doing?
Packing? I'm taking a vacation, like I do every year.
No, you're not. You have more to review. Now, get going.
Yeah, whatever you say, you pizza-faced fuck.
Okay, that is enough! If you think just because I saved your skin once means we're buddy-buddy, you're dead wrong. No, I am a killer. I torture those around me, and you're no exception. Now, get back to work, or I'll have to take extreme measures.
What are you even talking about?
You see, while you just kept babbling, I took the liberty of placing several sticks of dynamite underneath your floorboards. And all I have to do is let go of this button, and everything you love, everything you've built, will be gone.
How do I know you're not bluffing?
Try me.
Okay, you win. Let me grab the list of movies.
Good.
But there's just one more thing I have to say. I'm sorry, Fred. Wow, didn't even drop the detonator.